traffic. Good evening and welcome to our May board meeting. Seems like we just did this a couple weeks ago, probably because we did. Town Clerk Greer, would you please take roll call? Here.
Seneca.
Here.
Steve Churchill.
Here.
John Dyson. Here. Caitlin Wisconsin. Here.
Thank you. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Just a couple of updates. We did our swipe cycle back at Earth Day a couple weekends ago, and it was a very good success for the first time. We had over 65 people register to participate, which means they put their items online and then provided the opportunity for people to come in. And then that following Monday afternoon and Tuesday, well, the House of Concern had the opportunity to come in Monday morning when anything that wasn't taken. And then Monday afternoon and Tuesday, our town highway department, and thank you, Jeremy, and those folks, went back and drew and picked everything up. And so it was a very big success. I know I had some stuff on the list and it was gone very quickly. So I need, if it's okay with the board, we'd like to do a fall version. Board have any objection to a fall version, sometime late September, early October type of thing? No problem? Okay, great. A couple weeks ago, town highway superintendent, myself, and highway and sewer person met with MRB, Tim Carpenter, engineer, to look at some drainage situations at different spots, the troubled spots, which are on White Street, obviously on Garden Street, Porter, Boston Avenue, some of the really bad spots that happen, Sackett Street, behind, in between Vince Richelieu and Sackett. So we're getting some ideas to see what it looks like. We also have a problem on Johnson Street at the end of the street. We met with the railroad, also Finger Lakes Railroad. They came to that part of the meeting. They want to fully cooperate and help us cut through the red tape. They're not paying for anything, but basically on Johnson Street, we would have to put a 20-inch pipe underneath the railroad bed to drain that area type of thing. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have some preliminary ideas and we can start looking at things we want to do, how we're going to finance it. I'm hoping some of the stuff is quicker fixes than long-term fixes. If it's a long-term fix, you got to start at the root of the problem, and that's at the canal and work your way back up. So, as I've said before, one of the problems with drainage is there's not a lot of money out there in the form of grants for drainage. But we'll take a look at it and see what we can accomplish and go from there. Yes, sir.
As I recall, I believe it was the previous administration, Lazaro administration, being out, they did an exhaustive study of sewer and stormwater drainage situation.
To my knowledge, they did a lot of, they looked at Porter Street, Boston Avenue, that part of town type of thing. As far as I know, that's as far as it went.
Did anybody pull that?
We pulled that out. That's been shared with MRB. Okay, so that's not going to be redone. We're pretty confident that the problem in that part of town is really downstream. The drainage on Porter and Boston Avenue is relatively new. Downstream is not getting out, and part of the problem is, major problem is State Street and Cuter Street, where we're pretty sure that those drainage lines are filled with limbs and branches, you know, they have to be rooted out type of thing when you bring a machine in and do that. So, yeah, that exchange of information is
Pull
helpful.
that out.
Yeah.
Pull that out.
Absolutely.
And you say the railroad will not pay to have a drain, so they create a drainage problem by laying their railroad bed there, right?
Mhm.
Admittedly.
Long time ago, yeah.
They own the property,
Yep.
and technically, if you walk up and down the railroad, you're trespassing and can be arrested.
Yep.
But yet they don't want to pay to have, they don't want to even contribute towards it? Sure, maybe they buy materials and we do the labor? or-
Well, we haven't gotten to that point. I guess when we get to that kind of a scope of work, we can sit
I
down
think we
and,
need to hold their feet
you
to
know,
the
type of
fire.
thing. I can tell you the quick answer was, I feel bad, but it's your water.
It's your dam. And there's a couple of ways to clear the dam. We can do it nicely or we can do it with explosives. All
I
right,
guess I'll have to have Pat give his blessing on the explosive part.
all right, that's working on that.
So anyway, hopefully we'll have some updates. Highway Department, in conjunction with Water and Sewer, have been working together on some things. We're doing some, Jeremy's guys have been cleaning out a lot of storm drains and storm lines as best as they possibly can with our shop vac machine, or shop truck, shop vac machine, with our vacuum truck, and Joe's been helping cammering different pipes and so forth. So we're trying to do whatever we possibly can. Today they were up on the Courtney Drive, the Kenzie Drive area, and cleaned some areas up there, which would made a tremendous difference in just one day. So we're trying to do some of the short gap things that we could possibly do to.
Pick the right fruit,
Pardon?
the right fruit. There's
Yeah.
stuff out there that, yeah,
Yeah.
just quick clean here and make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many of the staff have been cleaned or trained on the back truck and the camera system? so
I'm
far?
sorry, Caitlin.
How many people from these departments have been trained on the camera system and the back truck system? So we can.
I'll let Jeremy answer that, but when I asked the question, everybody's been trained on the truck and on the camera. Jeremy has been trained in
The
his
camera system, it's a learning process, we're still learning. There's only been a few people that have been able to be on it. As for the back truck, every single one of the employees.
Let's see. The town DRI projects, which is at the community center, the visitor center, and the North Side Canal, are moving ahead very well. Tonight, there's going to be a late resolution added to the agenda to approve me to sign a contract for the design of the skate park. So that's all part of the DR, and hopefully we're going to see construction start August, September. The north side of the canal, as I mentioned before, they're working on design. The biggest holdup is going to be New York State Gas and Electric. But I've been in contact with them. We've been assigned a work order number. She could not tell me when that would happen. Everything is moving along. Okay? And then Pat's got a couple of updates on the zoning and codes committee. Some of the things that we're moving ahead with coming up that will be coming to your desk hopefully in the next month. Pat?
Sure. So the planning committee most recently has been looking at the issues regarding absentee landlords. So we have a proposal that would create a kind of a registration system so that the town will know how to get in contact with people that own properties that maybe are falling into disrepair or otherwise need attention. Because right now we don't necessarily even have that information in order to do that, short of tax records, which will only have a mailing address. And so that's one part of it. The other thing has to do with our revising our current code relating to, right now it's called peddling and soliciting, and we want to expand that to include things like food trucks as they become more prevalent and popular. So we're trying to have a a similar idea with kind of a registration thing, which was already part of the peddling and soliciting. Whenever, and going back many years, there's been a registration type program where the town wants to know if there's going to be anybody in town going door to door, so that we can avoid issues and avoid scams and people not being taken advantage of, and also that our police are fully aware of anybody in the community who might be out conducting business like that. And so it's the same sort of thing for the food trucks and having information, so we have it here with the town, so we know what to expect, and we know that everybody is a legit business and whatnot. So those are the most recent things. The peddling and soliciting, we also will be specifically seeking input from our downtown business association to see how, if they have any particular thoughts on that, largely to do with the location where it would be allowable and things like that. So that's been the most recent items coming out of the planning committee.
Are there any new fees associated with these proposals?
Always.
Yeah, always. All right, I guess we'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about it
they
when we get there.
There will be.
Okay. Thanks, Pat. Okay. I guess that's all the updates. We have a gentleman here by the name of Russell Mason who would like a few minutes of your time to talk to you about a project he has and give you a couple of details and see what people are thinking and go from there. All yours.
Hello.
There's a podium and a microphone and
I don't know if I really need this, but do you
I'm
want
sorry.
me to use this or?
yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. I'm honored and grateful to be here. Thank you to Mr. Ferrara. We've been talking about this for a couple of years now. It's something I've been working on for a little over 2 years. A project very near and dear to my heart, and that is a mural for your downtown. It's gonna hopefully go on 54 Fall Street, which is the Chemung Bank. It's above the bank, so it's about a 45 by 15 foot high space. Right now it's mostly a white or beige stucco. And my proposal is, I was hoping I had a projector so I could kind of show everyone at the same time. You can see all the details and everything, but I'll pass this around. It's a mural featuring, a postcard theme, Seneca Falls, and below it features the famous march through that street in 1848. And that, for the most part, was organized by the two on the bottom there. So you have Elizabeth Stanton on the left, and then Susan B. Anthony on the right, kind of in the foreground, which I just think is a really powerful image showing the bravery and what those women marched for back then. I think it's something significant that at this point in my career I'm trying to do some more significant work, things that are kind of near and dear to my heart. So this will be certainly one of them. I'll pass that around. And so you can know a little bit about me. I'm originally from Waterville, New York, similar to Seneca Falls, I'd say. It's about an hour and a half east of here. Always been an artist since I was a kid. This is the only thing I ever wanted to do. Been a starving artist for about 35 years, but finally made it. I have some projects I'm very excited about with Buffalo Bills. I'm working with Children's Hospital of Buffalo on a nonprofit fundraising mural at the end of this month. Working with Equitable, downtown Syracuse, on a large mural. I've done 9 murals in the past month in 3 different states. So feels like I made it. There's always this nagging voice in the back of my head that tells me I didn't, but so yeah, I'm kind of at the point where I want to do things that are more important. So this would be something I would really love to put on my portfolio. I think it would really enhance your downtown and, pay tribute and honor to the past, which I think is, you all know, you can't understate the significance of the historical event here. So, something for you all to consider anyway. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I got a couple.
Sure.
Typically, how is your work funded or paid for?
Well, that's a great question. I do a lot of residential work, just from the homeowner or whatever. I do commercial and business work, logos and designs. That's paid for by the, the business. And then for government work, I've done work for Oswego. I did their skate park, which was about a little over 1,000 square foot mural on 2 different large exterior pillars that were 20 feet high, and a 40-foot long cement wall. That was funded by the town. Billy Barlow worked with him on that. And I have all my references and everything listed in here. He's one of them. Worked with a lot of mayors in towns, so if you wanted to, reach out to any of them and ask about me, I'm happy to have you do that. But yeah, the easiest route for this to be funded would be for the town to pay for it, if you guys found it something worth paying for. If not, then I might try to do private fundraising, but that might add another year or 2 onto my journey here.
This is probably like a, $2,000-3,000 project, maybe?
Yeah.
Close. My proposal's in here, with the figures and the breakdown of everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I could do it for that, but it's a lot of time. I have a 20-day. Do you want me to pass this around? I have a 20-day
That
estimate.
was my third question. So let's just say hypothetically that the town board wants to go in that direction as a budgeted item in 2024. How long will a project like this take?
So to paint it, I kind of put in there for 20 days, so roughly 3 weeks, and then to varnish it is probably another 2 days. That's kind of an extensive process. I use a Sherwin-Williams anti-graffiti varnish, which you don't really have to worry about that because of the height of where the mural would be, but it's just the most durable exterior varnish. It goes on like rubber cement almost. Brush it on there, it takes a while, but it will maintain the look of it exactly, as the day it was painted for probably at least 10 years. I would say probably longer, but that's the manufacturer guarantees 10 years.
Okay. Can we keep this?
Of course, yeah. I have some other stuff here for you. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that.
resume, letter of intent, and such.
You were close, Mike.
Yeah.
How did you get to Seneca Falls? And how did you get the location? Where you wanted to put it?
So my sister lives in Elbridge, so we take our kids. We both have kids the same age, so we take them all over to Skaneateles. We took them to Seneca Falls. We're walking around, and we did the sculpture trail, and I was inspired by the sculptures there. There's one of Elizabeth Stanton and a couple others. But yeah, it's just the rich history here. So.
Thank you.
Did you do the mural in Waterloo?
Oh, Waterville?
In Waterloo, the mural there by the Quakes course there
No.
downtown?
Didn't do that one. No. I did one in Waterville.
Coughlin. Did you do the mural in Port Byron?
Nope, didn't do that one.
Did you do that one either?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, sir, thank you so much for stopping in.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you.
stay in contact.
Thanks, appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Mr. Farrar. Take care. Thanks, everyone.
I'm sorry.
Picture.
Oh, sorry. Okay, any privilege of the floor tonight who would like to speak? You know the routine, name, serial, rank?
Good evening, Hello, my name's Claire Ludovico. I'm a long time, well, a short time now, but on and off resident of Seneca Falls, but I'm back to stay. I want to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm a member of the Heritage Preservation Commission, and becoming a member of that commission, even as an alternate, seemed like a natural step to me, despite the fact that it may be the most misunderstood committee in town, because I've always loved older buildings and their stories. I can understand the HPC's negative reputation. Extra red tape's never any fun. But you may not know that the HPC no longer regulates house colors or your landscaping. You can have what you like. I'm here to explain the HPC's history and its benefits to the town, and request that the chair of the HPC be included on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee as it was in 2006. So first, just a little history. I did have quite a bit more, so you're being spared here. With the passing of the National Historic Preservation Act in 1966, states were given the opportunity to identify and start the process of preservation of historic sites. The states allow communities to apply for certified local government status. And in order to get this, to achieve this, the community must first establish an Historic Preservation Review Commission by local ordinance. And through this process, Seneca Falls is a certified local government and created the Seneca Falls Historic District. There are advantages of this to the town. The first advantages noticed after the passage of the National Preservation Act were economic. Towns found that many visitors were attracted who wanted to experience the past in more personal ways than books and movies provided. And the physical environment was improved. Other economic benefits come to certified local governments in the form of eligibility for grants, loans, tax incentives, legal protection, and technical assistance. As a result, the town of Seneca Falls and organizations within the town have received tens of millions of dollars and have also availed themselves of all the other benefits. An example of the success of this is the restoration of the outside of the Huntington building through the efforts of the HPC and other historic-minded groups, and it will serve as housing for U.S. military veterans. There's an advantage when applying for other government grants, etc., for certified local governments as well. And just keep in mind that there's no certified local government without an HPC. Individual property owners in the historic district receive benefits too. Studies have shown that property values in local historic districts generally increase at a more rapid rate than the market. Owners are protected from inappropriate new construction, misguided remodeling, and demolition. And there may be a sense of pride and a sense of elevated status from living in a unique community. As the Historic Preservation Commission provides so many benefits to the community, why, of all the town committees that were on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee of 2006, is the HPC the only one not included now? If one examines the subcommittee topics of the meetings that are to occur just in this coming week, economic security, culture and aesthetics, and physical and built environment, I can think of no other entity more involved. I ask that this exclusion be rectified by appointing the chair of the HPC to the steering committee, as have the chairs of all the other town committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any others? Yes, sir.
If I may, excuse the clothes, I came from work. I'm working dirt. Plant trees, shrubs. Trees and shrubs. I'm inclined to ask, to me, it just seems like the trees, especially in Academy Square, can be taken down, but they can't be taken care of. I was hoping that whoever is taken care of be prepared to maybe take a little bit, or if there's a problem, take care of the problem, but to take out a whole tree that could probably stand another 50 years, to me, is ridiculous. That's my first thought. And whoever cut the sycamore trees down by the canal, that was ridiculous. Because now we got all kinds of sunshine during the summer. One last thing, when you were talking about the railroad, I've had a little bit of a conflict with them because of an area I work in. And you kind of get a tough luck if you don't like an attitude from them. Imagine that. One of the areas that I use, it's pretty obvious, Clinton Street and the railroads, and they built it up, and now it's holding water, and it's a pond. They built it, as far as I'm concerned, they can take it apart. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
This is very intimidating. My name is William Bailey. I own 216.
You put that right next to your mouth, I'm
I
sorry.
own 216 Fall Street, and I'd like to ask for it to be removed from the Preservation Committee. There's no historical value to the committee at all. It's more of a filler house. The thing's been abused for years. And I just started putting in brand new windows in the house, and I would like to have the handcuffs removed from my hands so that I can finish the outside of it and bring the light back to the house. But I can't save everything on this house. Sorry, I can't save everything on this house. Some things are just beyond what Mother Nature has already done.
Well, as you know, this board does not have the authority to make that decision. That's a decision that's made by the Heritage Preservation Commission, and then there's a process in place. If a homeowner doesn't agree with that, then the Zoning Board of Appeals makes that decision, and then you go forward, which is currently, as you know, what's going on with your...
Right, and I was informed that you guys made the decision to remove the property from...
You can adjust the boundaries. I mean,
You
that's...
can adjust the boundaries.
I mean, my house should be
That's the
more of
sort of thing that should be
a...
discussed at the...
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
My house should be more of a functional house in the historic. I have no benefits to it. All the money that I'm investing into it is my own money. I plan on putting new siding up to it, and I got the new windows, fixing the garage, the deck and everything, but I can't meet the demands that the Historical Society is gonna want, especially on the front porch. It's just not gonna happen. It suffers so much abuse to it throughout the years.
I'm assuming that's not like a...
You can't just remove one from, you know, you can change the boundaries.
But there's some type of a process?
Yes.
Local
It's
or
a
local
it's a
law?
local law, and
Public hearing?
yeah, and the whole thing, and should start with the comprehensive plan.
I don't have a good answer for you, it's not an easy process, but I'm sure this board would look at it. I don't know.
Did you purchase it knowing it was in the Heritage
Yes,
Preservation Area?
I was born and raised here.
Okay.
I've been here all my life, so I know what's
So you
going on.
knew, you kind of knew you were
Correct.
gonna have to jump through some hurdles.
Correct, and I didn't have the problem with jumping through the hurdles, but their expectations are something I can't, there's no way I can meet those expectations. You know, just the front porch alone, those artifacts that are on there, every one of them are broken. You know, the weight of the porch is just pushing everything down, and it's 3 inches off the house now.
Well, I watched this old house on Saturday morning.
They also have 20 guys in.
But they can restore just about anything.
Sure, and they got a lot deeper pockets than mine are.
And I realize it, that's why,
216 Fall Street is in Zone 1. I think it's Zone 1.
I'm not sure what the zone.
I think there's different areas, right? There's different levels.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I steer clear, but
There's different levels for the property.
Right.
It may just be a filler house, I don't know.
Right.
Well, that's what my house is just a
Your
filler
house is a filler house.
I mean, but you went to the zoning board of appeals, because I was at the meeting,
Correct.
and they
they overruled the committee and let you put in the windows that were 12 inches shorter, right?
Correct.
So I
But
mean,
there's a, I'm sorry, excuse me.
you just have to go through that process every time, right?
Yeah, but
There's a, as you know, I think you know, there's a section 78 hearing against the zoning board of appeals. The HPC is involved and.
Oh, yeah.
It's in litigation.
Yeah.
And-
Once
and
it
that's-
gets to
and
the lawyer's
that's-
hands, they'll never hear it out.
And that's part of the problem is that why do I want to go through these necessary steps if I'm just going to end up in court every time I go through the steps? I mean, I went through the proper steps and now I'm into court over it. So to me, it'd be easier just to remove the house because it is only a filler house. It's a non-functional house in the historic preservation area.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the courts either because currently defending the HPC 1 month bill was $10,000 and defending the zoning board 1 month bill is $3,000 and it just started. So I'd like to stay out of the courts for the taxpayer purposes as well.
Is there, so I mean, I live in the historical district and I reached out years ago about grant funding to help keep up with the home and the value of it and whatnot, but does the HBC offer any more assistance with grant funding or location of grant funding for residents?
Just an alternate so that the Chuck Jenko is the chairman would know more, or Lynn Dovey or Sean Painter or Jimmy Cummins. We've all been there
I'll
for a
reach back
while.
out to them again because
As far as I
it is
know-
expensive. I can
Well, I
appreciate
know,
that.
and I have a feeling that this house is going to end up back in the court system anyways. Because obviously, if I feel that the town has overextended their boundaries, I'm allowed to pursue it back into court. I just wanted to fix the house up, make it look nice. I mean, if you go down Fall Street, you got tarps on roofs, you got some lady's got a woods out in the front of her house. I don't want any of that. I mean, this house has been sitting there for 8 years now.
Off the tax rolls for 8 years.
Right.
And you get it back on the tax rolls.
Right, and I'm putting my own, like I said, I'm putting my own money into it, which is not a problem, but
Well, it sounds like there's an opportunity for potential compromise if the right people get to the table. I mean, you can
Yeah.
do this, right, but
well,
that's never gonna end.
the 4 windows were an issue because they were only 3.5 inches off the floor. And I have a grandbaby and I got a 4-legged dog.
A lot of those houses in this town.
Well, and I understand that, but there was only 4 of them out of 15 of them that were on the 2nd floor. All the windows around the whole house on the outside are the same level.
I think you just gotta get the right people in the room and talk about design issues and
Yeah.
see if you can come to a.
Okay, we'll, as I said, it's not an easy thing to look at the boundaries. I mean, I didn't know that the board could do that. So it might be something that the board sits down, some people, representatives of the board sits down with the HPC and, see if there's any way we can start redefining the boundaries. Certainly not promoting getting rid of it, but redefining
But
it.
doing that process could create one hell of a precedent. Next thing you know, you got the whole, you got islands out there.
Well, and the idea is that it's a district, it's
Yeah.
a contiguous
Sure.
thing.
But I mean, it could get ugly.
Carving out for one house is certainly
It could get
not
ugly.
really in the cards.
Yeah.
But, the boundaries are yours.
Maybe it's redefining what filler properties are. I'm not versed enough to make comment about it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hang in there.
So, intimidating.
Do you have water in your basement?
No.
Then you should thank God.
No, we can fix that. Okay, anybody else? All right, let's move into the agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from our public meeting on April 11th and public hearing on April 11th? Motion, please.
I make the motion.
Thank you.
I'd like to offer an amendment to the
Okay.
on
Can we,
the page,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, before it gets second, it'll be easier.
the very last paragraph, water billing department. I asked our town manager in this discussion if there were a lot of billing errors, and I was told no. And it turns out, I guess, there are quite a few billing errors. I just want that correction to be, the minute should read that I asked the question, and the answer was no.
I don't remember the conversation, but any.
Well, we were talking about,
Yep.
Dawn was talking about some woman that she knew and.
Yeah, I think the specifics of the question had to deal with, of the nature that this amendment or proposal was going to deal with. There aren't that many.
I think,
Were there other billionaires from systematic problems? Yes, that is understood. But this amendment doesn't deal with those, or this resolution.
Well, this was more of a discussion, there was no amendment.
Or
any
resolution.
I don't believe there was a resolution, it was a discussion, but during that discussion, which isn't in the minutes, that's why I want to amend it, I asked you if there were a lot of billing errors, and you replied. That's not in here, and I'd like that added to the minutes. It's an omission. That's all.
Edit the
So,
minute.
I offer the amendment.
A second.
I'll second.
We didn't have a second on the accepting of the minutes, so do I need an amendment, or?
There was no,
Either way, even if you had a second, we can amend it.
I thought that's why we were having a discussion, because we had a second.
Before the
I don't think we had a second.
Was there one in here?
I'll
no,
second.
there's not a second.
Steve seconded.
I'll second.
No.
To accept the
Second.
minutes, and then I offer the amendment,
All right, we got it.
and then we have a second on the amendment.
Mhm.
All in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
We have some limited communication. We have
We don't have it.
special events uses for that, so that's in your packet. You want to take a look. If there's no objection to that, then all the proper signing will take place if there's no objections to those.
Now, is the reason we don't have any communications from planning board, zoning board, is because
Usually, yeah, they met last week, so the
Okay.
minutes aren't done yet, so they'll be on next month.
There was some very lengthy, the
Yes.
planning board was 4.5 hours long.
Yeah. And the zoning board was also like this, so she's working on it.
well, if it's that long, see if we can get them a little before, being in the packet like that. We can get, as early as we can get them, it gives us a little
The
time.
problem is they take place the last week of the month.
Right, but, so we're gonna get the April meeting.
Oh, I see what you're
minutes,
saying,
yeah.
yes.
So we
Okay,
can put them in a pack, if we get them earlier, I'd like to get a copy.
All right,
That way
okay,
you can
we can
review.
do that, we can email them.
Because it sounds
all.
like there's gonna be a lot of
Okay.
reading.
We can do that.
Okay, thanks.
So I have a letter I'd like to attach to the Miners class of 2023 parade. Just a safety letter to attach before we sign that. So I can send that to you.
Sure.
Okay. If the board wants to see it, I can pass it around. I just got a typo real quick, so.
Okay.
We've had some problems in the past of hanging out windows, standing up with the trucks. I want to address that.
Can I see the letter? You said you have it.
All right, there's nothing to report on any old business under sale of property. Before we get into new business, everybody's received their board reports from the department leaders, as well as MRB and V&L. Any questions for those people after you've seen the reports?
I had one for B&L, and that is, it was about the landfill monitoring their leachate discharge. And it just struck me that, they monitor the odor, Fox watching the hen house, and they're monitoring. Don't we have any independent folks that are doing any of this monitoring?
We did for a time. Initially, we had what was called an odolog, and that was installed, and we got our readings from that. But it was discussed, I want to say back December or January. I can look back, but it was discussed that it would be okay to take that out. Now the town is doing their monitoring. Joe's department is going out there and taking readings with a handheld device, in addition to SMI, and SMI is sending all of their readings over to B&L so that we can track and report those.
And James, we're doing testing there as well, right?
Yeah, there's a guy goes and checks it for H2S, pH. I believe H2S and pH for sure every Thursday.
And that gets sent to an independent.
That's ours, and then we also take a whole slew of samples and send it to an independent lab every week.
Right.
Okay, so there is some independent All right,
Yes.
okay, thanks for that clarification.
Okay. Can I have a motion to, any other questions for department leaders or anything? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the special events? I should have done that before. Motion to approve special events?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. FYI, spring brush leaf pickup, Monday, May 22nd, a one-day event. So mark your calendars, and if you have any brush, leaves, et cetera, we will be moving throughout the town, picking those up on Monday, the 22nd.
They need to be bagged, correct, the leaves?
Mm-hmm.
Paper bags?
Paper bags.
And we don't sell paper bags, right? No, we got out of that business a while ago. All right, have a resolution here accepting the resignation of Ed Thurston, whereas Mr. Thurston submitted his resignation as water sewer operator training on April 14th. Now be it further resolved, the town board of Seneca Falls approves the resignation.
So moved.
So move. Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. I have a resolution to allow the town supervisor to sign an engagement letter with MRB Group for grant writing services. Whereas it would be advantageous for the town to apply for consolidated funding application, water infrastructure improvement, and engineering planning grant. Whereas these potential grants would be used for engineering planning purposes.
So moved.
So move. Second. Thank you.
You just mentioned the dollar amount that
Yes,
is
I will.
budgeted.
This is not to exceed $22,000.
And it
Well
is-
worth the investment.
And it is budgeted.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Resolution to award bid and enter into contract for lawn care services for certain private properties in violation of town code within the town of Seneca Falls. It's a budgeted item. Whereas the town code 300-39 requires that the owner of any property who permits brush, grass, noxious weeds, or other rank growth to proliferate on his or her property to a height greater than 5 inches shall be deemed to be in violation of this chapter. Whereas the town has been in contact with JEL Lawn and Landscape in Seneca Falls, and the town having been notified, would no longer be providing these services. As a result, the town obtained bids from 3 firms with respect to providing mowing services. Whereas these bids have been received, and it's the desire of the town board to consider the award thereof. The most cost-effective bid was from JEL Lawn and Landscape, loaded at $1493,414. Proposal for a cost of $100 per mow per hour, with annual season service beginning when requested.
Okay, I'll make a motion we adopt this.
Okay, can I have a second for that, please?
No, the homeowners gets charged this money, not us.
Correct.
I'll second.
So again, our zoning officer and assistant zoning officer will violate, send a notice, violate them. Then we reach out to this contractor. They go mow it. They give us an invoice. We pay it, and then it gets put onto the homeowner's property tax.
Okay, so the letter, my grass is 5 inches high, 10 inches high, make it easy. They send me the letter. How many days do I have to mow?
Kim can answer that one.
If it's a local Seneca Falls address, you have 5 days from the date of notice to mow it.
Oh.
If it's out of town, you get 8.
Oh, okay. All
All right.
right. The $100 mow guy isn't coming out the same day as the letter.
And I assume when the weather is like it has been, and it's hard to get on your lawn to mow it, and there's a lot of, obviously, common sense. We're not, I don't think Kim is just handing out violations for the fun.
How many of these do we typically do in a season?
And usually there are a lot of them are repeat offenses. Houses that are empty, right?
Tenant,
Regular.
do they pay their taxes? Do they actually pay it?
I mean, it goes on the tax bill, I don't know whether they're paying taxes or not. So probably, I'd say 30.
30?
So if they come with a big machine and they mow a little rinky-dink lot like my mother's 20 Chestnut Street if I don't get to mow it, and they do it in 30 minutes, they're only going to charge me $50?
I'm taking $100 per hour minimum.
So,
$100.
it's $100 per mow.
Maybe I'll let them
Per
mow.
hour, so if they do it for 1 minute, that's a mow, it's $100. They do it for an hour, it's $100. 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, per mow, per hour.
You should have put an RFP in, right?
Yeah.
Rod Twain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30, so figure,
Okay, any other questions?
Wow, all right.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Mow your grass.
So carried. Next resolution, appoint a full-time police officer, Bryce Rumfelt. I hope I said that right. Whereas the end of December, the town board accepted the retirement of Chief Keenstra. Whereas since the end of December, the Seneca Falls Police Department has been actively recruiting, interviewing, and conducting background investigations for the vacant police officer position. Now therefore be resolved upon the completion of the hiring process, it's the recommendation of Police Chief, Public Safety Committee, and Personnel Committee to backfill this vacant position with Bryce Rumfelt. The town board accepting backfilling the vacant position officer with lateral transfer who comes to the town of Seneca Falls Police Department from the village of Boulevard, New York, with 2.5 years experience, and will start at the contractual hour rate of $28.33 on May 11, 2023. Have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
And I have a second.
Second.
Any questions for Chief Snyder?
we need to fill this position, chief.
This will put us one away from full staff, so yes. Especially with the summer months coming up, picking up a lateral that's only going to have to train for 4 to 6 weeks on the road. He'll be ready to go by summer by himself. Versus the two we have in the academy right now that won't be ready until they graduate October. They won't be ready to go on the road until February of 24.
We're hiring this,
Yes.
we're hiring this guy under this incentive program, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's the first and only so far that has come underneath that.
Other questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Resolution to approve the replacement and repair of sidewalks and stairs on Water Street and curbing on Maple Grove Street. Whereas the sidewalk on the south side of Water Street is severely damaged and becomes a safety issue. That will be $20,100. Whereas the stairs from Cowing Street leading up to Water Street are in disarray and the stairs are not ADA compliant, that would be $93,000. Whereas the stairs in Elizabeth Cady Stanton Park going from Fall Street to Water Street need repair to some of the steps, as the steps have become a safety hazard, that would be $23,500. Whereas the ramps and some curbing need to be ADA compliant on Maple Grove Street and will be part of the repaving of Maple Grove Street and will be paid with CHIPS grant, which is $58,705. Whereas the George Construction Services, the board approved contractor, will be the assigned contractor. Whereas the budget amendment will increase the count A5410.401 by $116,500. And be it further resolved, the town board of Seneca Falls approves to have the George Construction complete the above.
I made the motion, we fix those areas.
And have a second for that, please.
I'll second. I have a question.
Okay, as long as we get a second, then we can go to discussion part. Yeah.
Okay. I'll second it. Are we doing any of this work? Are our guys doing any of this work?
No.
No? Can we do any of this work?
I don't know, it's, we don't have any, we don't have masons or so forth, I don't know to the extent.
I don't currently have anybody working in my staff that is justifiable to do some of these jobs are huge. The stairways alone, there's not a chance that we can even think about that. Some of the sidewalks, none of the guys, again, are really masons.
Can we do the demo?
We could do some of the demo, we could do, we already agreed to do a lot of hauling, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
we're doing that.
We are helping, we're gonna help throughout the job. That's where it's gonna save us some money. We are definitely
How much is it gonna
helping
save us
out.
Or is this the overall 116,000? That's the cost of the job, but how much is it gonna take off on us doing some of the labor?
No, the 116 was what we have to do a budget transfer, the rest would come out of CHIPS money. That we have not
The
been awarded.
20,000 and then the 58,000, right?
But will that number come down if we do? No, it's going to stay the same?
No, I mean, the prices do not include any town employees working on it. That doesn't include any. Again, the the CHIPS, the first item, the south side of Water Street, that'll be paid out of CHIPS money, 20,000. The steps will not be, they're not eligible. But then the 58,000 at Maple Grove will come out of CHIPS money, and so forth. So that's why we need to obviously move money over to cover the 160,000.
My next question, the George Construction, they're a board-approved contractor, but what were they originally approved to do?
We approved them to do road work and repairs, repaving, where Seneca Stone used to be, for the last years, was the contractor who won that RFP. They're no longer in business anymore. DeGeorge is basically the company that did, for the most part, it had a different name, but it's the most part that did the Phase 2 sidewalk program that was just completed last year, type of thing.
Were there a lot of issues with the sidewalk?
No.
We got one issue up on Porter Street where the sidewalk has heat, was there coming back in, and it's not even his business, it was to his uncle's business, he's going back in and repairing it for free of charge.
I was not aware of that.
It was Garden Street, I had to go.
I'm sorry?
Garden Street, there were issues.
That was Phase 1, and that was a different contractor.
So,
And you're right, there was a lot of issues.
right. I guess my question is, I mean, if they were, sounds like heavy equipment, paving, whatever, but if this is a concrete, shouldn't this go out to bid to other contractors within the area? I mean, is this the best price that we can get?
Well, again, it's not required to go out to an RFP because they're the approved company that the board approved. So go out and get other bids. Yeah, you can certainly go out and get other bids. Nothing saying you can't do that. I don't know who I would go out to do it, but there's nothing.
Well, I don't know, I mean, you were talking about paving and we were talking about sidewalks, so, I'm not a contractor or anything, but it's two different materials. So.
He's currently doing all the slip form gutters inside of the housing project over here. He did all of Garden Street last year, all the slip form gutters there, which are all concrete as well. That's all he specializes in. He's actually got another company that's working through him that's doing all the paving. Just like Seneca Pipe they carried the contract, but like they hired him to do slip form concrete gutters because they weren't a concrete company. He hires out to who he needs to get the jobs done that he is hired to do.
So if he's hiring it out, how much is he making off of it then?
I mean, they don't provide us a financial perspective on what the profit line is or so forth. It's a bid.
116,000 hired out.
I'd like to ask a question. So the stairways, we're talking about from Water Street and then down to the parking lot?
Yes, the one that go up underneath the.
And it says they're not ADA compliant. Are we making them ADA compliant?
Yes.
We are. How did I do that without a ramp?
Every step's supposed to be.
The risers are a different, the risers, that's what I mean by the.
Stairs are.
Yeah, one is 9 inches,
It's
one
not
is.
gonna be, it's not gonna be hand, all right. And the other thing I'm gonna ask you, on the Bridge, Street Bridge there, on the south side, they're gonna be addressing the railing issue as well?
I believe so, yes.
On Water Street, Steve?
Well, no, going up the bridge, so that'd be Bridge.
So I didn't include that work, they gave us an estimate for that work, but. I
And my
didn't-
understanding that railing is, stuck in the ground and it's not very secure.
On Water Street, it is, I think we're talking about two different things. On Water Street, where we're gonna replace the sidewalk, the railing will be put into the concrete versus in the mud that it's in now. Okay? I have a bid for going up both the east and west side of Bridge Street, but I did not include that because we didn't think.
Those railings are in good shape going up the bridge?
For the most part.
I mean, if we're gonna do the work.
Well, again, I didn't put it in because I didn't want to overwhelm. I thought maybe we'd wait till next year and put it in budget for it.
Well, but if how you secure that railing is by integrating it into the concrete, then if you're replacing the concrete, that's the time to do it. instead of sticking it in the side of the hill. Just saying.
Okay, I have that estimate, and I'll throw that in a resolution if this one moves forward.
I'd like to see other bids.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to see other bids.
Any other further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
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 Get it done.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, approved 4-1.
Are you gonna send us the other one though, with
Yeah.
the railings?
We'll approve it in June.
They could reuse the railings we have, correct?
Not the ones on Water Street Hill, they're
No,
broken.
the ones on the bridge.
I wouldn't suggest it because they're screwed together in 18 different directions right now to keep them together the way they are.
All right.
And then
We'll see what that looks like.
we also have in the Parks and Recreation budget, the archway to be restored and fixed, coming up as well. Do you know when that's gonna start, Missy?
Waiting to hear back.
We probably ought to have a little coordination now, okay, between the parties to be, all right? Okay. All right, we have a resolution authorizing the rejection of base bid items for the Water Street Pump Station improvements in a regular meeting of the Town Board of Seneca Falls held today, May 2nd. The following resolution is adopted, whereas the Town of Seneca Falls is the owner of Water
So
Street.
moved.
Thank you.
Is this something we really need to do? We need to pass a resolution to reject the bid?
Lisa, and I'll defer to Lisa.
Yeah.
The resolution is for any action of the board.
Well, if you get
That's how
bid-
we know what 5 people
I
want to
mean,
do.
Well,
Make a
let me
resolution,
ask you
take
this,
a
let me
vote,
ask you this.
on we go.
We get 5 bids, we pick one, do we have to pass 4 resolutions for the other because we rejected them?
No, but you're accepting one of them, and usually we're in touch.
I've never voted on a resolution to reject.
We're rejecting all of them.
Right.
Which means we're gonna take additional action
Just
to
gonna,
try to
go
get
back
the
out to
same.
bid.
Well,
I've been on board to redo that, go back out to bid.
well, the problem was that we couldn't get enough people to bid on it, okay? The project's too small.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
it was way over
I
budget.
don't even think, this is very unusual.
No, I know, but because we went out to bid and we're not accepting any of them, there's a resolution. We're gonna, B&L's recommendation is to include it in the Kingdom Road pump station project and combine it. And
That's fine, that's fine. I just find this a very odd resolution. And to me, it's a lot of busy, you know, we aren't accepting the resolution or bids, we don't accept the bid. We don't need a resolution saying we don't accept it.
Okay.
We can vote on it.
All right, we have a motion and do we have a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Have a resolution there, forget it. Authorizing the town supervisor to approve budget transfer of $5,000 or less when the town of Seneca Falls appropriates funds according to laws of the state of New York, whereas the town board has the sole authority to appropriate funds, whereas the Office of State Controller of the state of New York advises the timely detection of projected budget shortfalls allows the action to be taken early to address the shortfall, when only relatively small adjustments may be required. The following actions, although not appropriate for all entities, should be considered if a problem arises. Transfer between appropriations where appropriate, use of contingency funds where allowed. Whereas the auditor from OSC recommends the town of Seneca Falls authorize the town supervisor to approve budget transfers for less than $5,000 to remediate individual budget accounts. And be it resolved, the Seneca Falls Board hereby gives authority to the town supervisor to approve budget transfers of no more than $5,000 with the provision that a complete list of all budget transfers be distributed to the board and made public at the first town board meeting after the transfers are approved.
I make a motion, we add that to
Motion and a second, please.
Second.
Discussion.
I don't believe we need this. I mean, we haven't been on the board almost 4 years and you haven't brought anything to us that said, hey, we needed to transfer this. I just don't see a need for it. I can see where the controller's office might say that some municipalities, more complicated municipalities, bigger operations certainly need this. I don't think we need it, so I'm not gonna support it. We haven't needed it up till now, I don't know why we can't.
Did the OSC, did they set anything to us as far as their recommendations that indicates this?
It'll be in the audit report that's coming out. That's where the.
Well, shouldn't we pass it then when we have their recommendations?
You can wait, but
Yeah, if it's gonna be in the audit report, I'd like to read it there. This is just a general
Well,
comptroller's office for
I'm
every
with you,
municipality in the state.
the,
And like I said, we haven't needed it up till now.
I'm interested to see what they say, and as far as have that black and white in front of me before I make a decision on that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
Nope.
No,
Did you vote?
Yes.
Yes. So that motion or resolution is carried 3-2.
It's a big, much bigger. And we've never.
Have a resolution here, extension of reassessment grievance dates. Didn't think we had to do this. Do we?
Oh, it's really up to the Board of Assessment review, but this would be a good time to talk about it, and
Okay.
if you want to publicize the dates, then I'll help proceed
Yep.
with this.
Whereas the town of Seneca Falls is engaged in a process to reval and assess real property, whereas due to the reassessment project, the grievance date of May.
Support. Second.
Thank you. This is basically saying that Debbie and the board assessment review need more time, they can have it. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Resolution, the highway department would like to hire a laborer to replace the MEO that left in the past 2 months, whereas the highway department will use this person to perform all duties besides driving trucks over 18,000 pounds, which calls for a CDL license. Second, please. Thank you. The person hired effective will be Daniel Evans at $20 an hour. Any questions for Jeremy?
I have questions. Who interviewed? What was the interview process? What's the background? I mean, should we have a more fluid process? I mean,
Steve and I met with Jeremy at our regular meeting, and he went over the gentleman's application. We didn't meet with the person. Jeremy interviewed him, but we didn't interview him, but we did go over his qualifications, and that was the extent.
I mean, I think, and we've had discussions about having a more fluid hiring process, have we not?
yep, we certainly have. I think it would be useful for the board to, and I can help, to draft some language that formalizes the process, because right now there isn't one, at least a formalized process, as you said, discussions.
I mean, the police department, and I know Mike, you brought that up as an example, does a thorough background, there was advertisement. Where was this advertised? How long was it advertised? I mean, similarly for, we have another resolution in here too.
You have it advertised on the website?
It's been on the county website for a long time.
How many applicants did we have? I mean, I sat on the personnel committee, so I knew nothing about this until.
Almost all the applications we received were just for laborers for our cemetery. And the only CDL operator labor positions that I received, people didn't want them because they got different jobs in the process. It comes down to the guy fits the glove, he's got all the credentials, he's got the background, he's got the history, he's done this job before.
There should be discussion and again, going back to the process ahead of time, rather than getting a resolution.
Well, the committee, it went through the committee, and.
They didn't meet with them.
Nobody's in argument if the board, the majority of the board wants to set up a process for hiring, there's no argument there. What I'm saying is,
But
there's a couple of.
Can we, for an elected official,
This is the
as
other.
a town
yeah,
highway supervisor?
So the other
Or
issue
the town
is,
clerk, I mean, does she need us to approve the folks that she, no, it's really up to the highway.
Okay,
The
so
highway
what about the other
superintendent
department?
hires and fires.
We approve his budget.
And what about the other department then? So if we're still talking about another, fluid process, I
Water
think
and
that we
sewer.
should know more. I mean, there's turnover rates.
So
and
we're
we-
talking about this one.
And Steve, you're right, but you also brought up before, we need to take a look at why is there such a turnover rate with employees? If we can be more cognitive about our process and hiring the right people and whatnot, I think that we should take opportunity for that. I don't see what an argument could be against
I'm
trying
just saying with
to better.
with the highway
the process.
superintendent, I don't believe you can do that.
I understand that.
Right,
I
and that's what
understand
we're
that.
talking about. Other folks, yeah, personnel committee.
But I
So
think
certainly
that
you
there's
can-
opportunity.
Caitlin, certainly you can work with Peter and start working on a process, absolutely.
Perfect.
And there's a couple other resolutions here to hire laborers as well. And part of the dialogue of this board is the opportunity to hire laborers allows the department head to evaluate the person before the town invests any money in the person, whether give them a CDL license or send them to class for water classes, sewer classes. So now Jeremy or Joe can evaluate the value of the employee. You have up to a year to evaluate the value and decide if this person's right for Seneca Falls. It's a non-civil service position type of thing, so it's just a matter of a better way to possibly, hopefully, find some people who will be long-term resident or long-term employees.
But there's still an investment. I understand like the CDL, whatever else, training, et cetera, but there's still an investment of the training and the time and whatnot. So I just think that there can be a better process.
Okay, so I agree with Caitlin, there should be a process. Do you think you guys can get together and have it by June 6th? That's the next meeting.
Yeah, this is not
Gives you
complicated.
32 days.
Yeah, I mean, I brought it up before a while ago, so you've been busy with water bills.
Okay,
Well, that's under control now.
any other further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
I'm not willing to hire anybody right now.
No, I just want to know one.
I have a resolution to approve the hiring of a full-time water and sewer department laborer to replace a water and sewer operator trainee. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls board authorized the filling of a vacant full-time laborer position at April's meeting. Whereas the water and sewer department advertised a vacancy for full-time water and sewer laborer position. Whereas several applications were received in response to the advertisement and interviews were conducted with the most qualified applicants for the laborer position. Now forward, be it resolved that the Seneca Falls Water and Sewer Department seeks authorization to hire Troy Pickard of Seneca Falls to position of water and sewer laborer to full-time and a starting hourly rate of $19 per hour. A motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion so we can discuss it.
Okay,
I'll second it.
thank you. Discussion.
I mean, I just said my piece, so I mean, similarly with this. So I guess my only question is, where was this advertised?
Okay. Any further
And
discussion?
the other thing, well, just to speak a little bit more, we have to trust our department heads, who are, I think, are very qualified and competent people, to be the best judge of whether a person is qualified to work in their department.
Okay, well, what's, you wanna go down that road, what's been the turnover rate? Let's look at turnover rates for employees.
I don't think turnover rate is, there are other issues there. Yes, they're definitely gotta work on that, but
Yes.
I don't
And
think
again,
it's.
that's
I don't
why
think
I
it's-
wanna be
I don't think it's
sure
hi-
that we
I don't think
have the
it's-
process
I don't think it's hiring
right
laborers
ahead of
that-
time
that's
to
causing a
ensure
problem
that we
turnover.
have the right employees.
But hiring
I'm not
laborers.
saying that he's not the right employee.
No,
But what
but
I'm saying is that I
that
wanna do my
At
homework.
a
and
labor
research.
level, I think it should be just to the discretion of the department.
You gotta be
He
careful
didn't
with it.
even respond to an email that I sent. So how can I ensure
That's
that
another
he's got
issue.
it right?
That's not this issue.
It is this issue. When I asked a question to a department head and he's not responding to my emails about this process, then that's an issue.
Call him. Maybe they get the email.
He got the emails, he responded to other people.
Did you send it with a receipt?
I shouldn't have to.
Check mark? Well, you should, yeah. 'Cause
I'm not sure when the email went out,
I don't get all
You
Caitlin.
were in the email.
I'm sorry?
You were in the email. You were
I know that, I go through hundreds of emails, I'm not sure which day it was sent out.
I'll send it to you.
I know I have it, I was just wondering if you remember when it was sent out, okay? He's not been here,
Well, he responded to Dawn.
Okay, as I said, I don't know when, I just asked a simple question, I don't know when it went
I
out.
ask simple questions too, when I'm being challenged on.
Then I guess we'll,
Well,
I honestly, I'm sorry, right, I'm sorry.
All right.
We gotta be careful about what we talk about, protecting people's privileged information as far as, you know, turnover, okay? Because as we all know, there's a lot of reasons why there's been a turnover.
Sure.
Okay, all right. Yes, Brenda.
So all I'm saying is when you and Peter work on the process, maybe you could do it by competitive, non-competitive, and labor class. There might be, like Steve is saying, a different level of scrutiny. And everybody in the competitive class and a non-competitive class, and even the labor class, has to serve a minimum of a 26-week probation, not less than 8 or more than 26, and somebody might even have to serve a 52-week probationary period. But it just takes one telephone call to Laura Granger at the county, and she can tell you what the probationary period is for the whole county, or send you.
Did you mention my name in that?
Mike Squire?
No, did you mention Mike and Peter? I thought you said Mike, I'm sorry.
No,
David, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, Rule 14 of the Civil Service Law is the just get a copy of Rule 14, it'll help you and Peter quite a bit.
You want to join us?
Huh?
You want to join us?
Yeah.
You know a lot about it.
Just let me know the date. I can-
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Thursday? No, I'm not coming Thursday night. I'm gonna make a fool out of myself on Thursday night.
A lot of people made Thursday night.
What time is it?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, we have discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Opposed.
That's carried 4-1. I have a resolution here, whereas downtown flower pots, whereas the town of Seneca Falls contracts yearly with Seneca Flowers to purchase flowers and
Support.
plant. Second, please,
Second.
for expenditure of $3,198.
Budgeted item.
Budgeted item, any questions for Missy? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Still carried. Wall Street Hill Landscape, where the town of Seneca Falls contracts yearly with Charlie Barbie to landscape and maintain Water Street Hill.
Make a motion, we landscape the hill.
Landscape the hill, it's a budgeted item for $7,000. Have a second on the motion, please? Second, thank you. Any discussion or questions for Misty on this one?
Yeah, Missy did reach out to 5 vendors, and 2 responded, and this is the lowest bid. And then the other respondent was over 9,000, so.
And Charles has done this before in the past.
He's done it every year except last.
Right.
I did it, and I didn't, I said you assumed that I went Okay, I gave you a resolution before the meeting started, and, yeah. And Pat was gonna give you one right now, which is probably way better than, it's the same thing, but, I know, I just wanted to don't tell them what Pat's doing right now. Okay? I know. Okay, any further discussion?
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. All right, the other items on this, we're not, what Pat mentioned to you, there'll be some things coming your way in the next couple of months, okay?
What is this?
I have a resolution to advertise interview backfill for police department clerk, whereas on May 2nd, police clerk Charlotte Magula.
Like the chocolate.
Uh-huh.
Like chocolate.
I just learned how to say your name a couple days ago.
Still get it wrong.
Laskowski.
No. It's my first name.
Caitlin.
At least it's not Nicole today.
And how do you say this?
Michalka.
Machaka? Anyway, Charlotte submitted her letter of intent to resign to Chief Snyder, giving notice that she intends to resign in July and return to active duty with the United States Army. Seneca Falls Police Department will have a full-time police clerk vacancy, therefore be resolved that the town board accept backfilling the vacancy and allow Chief Snyder
I'll
to
make a
first.
motion.
And second for that, please?
I'll second.
And any questions for Chief Snyder?
We currently have 2 clerks.
Yes.
You need 2 clerks?
Oh, absolutely. We're still trying to catch up from when Allison Archer was out on maternity leave. With all the discovery and everything going on, they've got a lot more work on their shoulders than they've ever had.
All right. It's just, I know the Village of Waterloo, when they are small, a little bit smaller police force, but they only have 1 clerk.
Our foils are starting to, I'm getting upwards of 2 to 3 a day now, and some of them are actually body camera stuff now, and it's eating up, a half a day for me to go through that, so I don't know what I can do it.
Gotta ask, my God.
They're doing everything they can do.
Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Pat just gave you one that was similar to the one I gave you. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls Town Board finds that Sourcewell is a government entity of the state of Minnesota, whereas the Sourcewell contract 112420 ARC for skate park, bike and pump track, the solution with related equipment, whereas the contract was let in a manner consistent with New York state law, whereas the town of Seneca Falls received a proposal from American Ram Company to provide concrete skate park at a price specified in the Sourcewell contract, which is not to exceed $200,000. Now therefore be resolved, the Seneca Falls Town Board hereby authorizes the purchase of a concrete skate park pursuant to the attached proposal from American Ram Company. Basically, you're approving me to sign the contract. This is part of the DRI project at the community center.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
So this is this one?
Yes, and the purpose of the resolution that I prepared is because the contract is coming through, it's a, for procurement, it's what, we've done this before where it's a piggyback situation where the formal bidding process was done by by the state of Minnesota, this company called Sourcewell, and as long as they follow the correct procedures, a municipality can use that contract and the amounts agreed to without going through the whole formal bidding process itself.
So we need to amend this to add the clause, whereas the cost were.
The cost, you can insert the cost in there, but I mean, the contract is the contract, but yes, that's what the contract states, that's the amount of it.
But it should be in this resolution. The dollars should be in this resolution.
You are right.
And you read it with the dollars in there.
I get it.
Yeah, so I think we should amend it.
Okay. We have a
Well,
motion and a second.
That's why I second, yeah.
Yeah, and we have an amendment to the resolution to put in the price not to exceed
Yeah, essentially, this is the
$200,000.
clause off the old.
Yeah. And I'll second that amendment. Any questions on the amendment to the resolution? Okay, then, all in favor of the resolution as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I make the motion.
Second to pay the bills? Nobody wants to
Second.
pay them? Second? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, one second. No executive session, okay? Unless somebody wants to go in. Yes, Gene?
Jean Gilroy, Gravel Road. You're talking about leaf pickup and all of this. Nobody ever comes out my way to pick up anything. I want to know where are the boundaries of this leaf pickup stuff? Because I know that the old village has garbage pickup that's different than what we have on Gravel Road.
Should be the entire town, correct?
Yes, I'm
Well, I should
amazed
be,
that
I'm
you're saying
the
that.
entire town.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that. This is the first I ever heard. It's not the entire town. It's not the old, it shouldn't be the old village. It should be the entire town.
Apparently that's
This
what
is
it
the entire
is.
town.
We've done on gravel. I've been in the truck that goes up gravel road.
So we cover the entire town in one day?
1.5-ish, depends on how.
Okay, so we're going all the way out to Gravel Road, we're going all the way over to DMAX, we're going all the way over to
George Road, King Road.
King Road.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Except your house.
You're jumping at my house.
You probably didn't have it in plastic or paper bags.
I have other places to take care of, I mean, I'm not concerned with my trash,
No, no.
but I'm just wondering, it just seems to me that the old village gets all the perks. I mean, we don't have street lights, we don't have anything out gravel roads, so,
Yeah, I know. No sewer.
no sewer, yeah.
But you don't pay for sewer, which is good. That's a big deal.
I think it's ridiculous in the 21st century that everybody doesn't have
So-
running water and sewer.
There ought to be street, now that we're a big town, it's not just a village, there should be a separate street lighting district and sidewalk district that the people in the district pay for. Because we don't get them, and you're 100% right, and they never will put it up there.
No.
But we should be contributing towards the maintenance and care of sidewalks and lighting that we don't get.
Do you send a notice around at all? Do you send a notice around for leaf pickup or anything? I
It's in
I
the-
just
it's
never
in the
got
paper.
anything. I'm sorry, what?
It's in the Finger Lakes Times.
Okay.
And we put it on, and it's on our website.
And if you take your phone out right now, you go to your calendar, and on the 22nd,
Click clearly.
put that tomorrow, they're picking up. And it's like-
Okay,
We should use Code Red a whole lot more than we do.
Yeah.
we can do a
So
code red.
call.
Melissa, can you do that for me, please?
That
Thank you.
way you get a text and a phone call, and
If you remember code red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were talking about item O on here, did you amend it to Water Street Hill, or?
well, the resolution is correct. It said Water Street.
Oh.
On the agenda, it says
Says
Walnut
Walnut,
Hill.
yeah, I'm like, there's only a strip of grass on
No,
one
no,
side.
no,
but
no,
yeah,
no.
it's-
We have a Hickory Hill, there's Hickory Hill, but there is no law.
Okay, with that, then we'll to adjourn, please.
Make a motion. I second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.